So, for this segment, I wanted to expound a little bit on something we had mentioned during the monologue, which was we live in an age where there's just nonstop 24/7 propaganda on the TV, on the internet, and and what that does to people. Now the big thing is Omicron, right? Now the Omicron variant is out there, and I just saw today in the news, Bill Gates was saying, "Oh, I've canceled all my Christmas plans because of Omicron. Everybody should stay home and you know eat your fruit flies alone in separate rooms, whatever the lizard people do.
I'd like it.
Drink your baby blood, sans the rest of your family." Um, and of course, that message we were talking about earlier from the Biden administration and just all this stuff. And of course, I'm not going to get into the science of all of it, of the fact that if the majority of cases are Omicron and deaths are way down, that's actually good news, right? That means it's not as dangerous, and therefore you should feel more confident to go on living. But really, it wouldn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. You should be out there living your life the way you want to. But the problem, the next layer of that cake is, God, I got cake on the mind now. The next layer of that cake is is that how the constant propaganda affects other people. And I always grew up, in an environments where, people used to say, there's things you don't talk about at, family get-togethers. You don't talk about politics, you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about rape, you don't talk about, you know, these are also things you don't talk about at your first date. I think I might be thinking of first date more than
Yeah.
family, but it's the same thing. Well, it's not the same thing unless you're in Alabama. Then it's literally the same thing. Um, but the thing is that a lot of people, you don't have families where everyone is of one mind. You might have immediate families where most people living under the same roof, they generally have some of the same beliefs and opinions. But when you start having these family get-togethers with extended family, people coming in from different parts of the country, perhaps people that maybe don't see each other all the time, and this is at a very important time of year. It's a time of year for people who maybe don't stay in touch as well as they would like to get to come together and share a meal or exchange gifts or whatever. Um, but because of the age that we live in, you have people thinking, "Oh, it's unsafe. It's unsafe to go out and to enjoy Christmas with one another." And then what it just ends up being another thing. It's just another thing on the short list of things that can ruin a perfectly good time, that can fracture a family. Um, and we've talked about this on the show before, how politics maybe is more divisive now than ever. And if you're wondering, if you're asking yourself, well, how did we get here? Like, I don't remember people being at each other's throats like this, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever. I feel like it's because you have talking heads in the press and in Washington today that they make everything out to be an existential crisis. And to really define that, what I mean is that if you believe that every single facet of life is a life or death situation, if you believe because this person wants a 17% tax instead of a 15% tax, that's a matter of life and death. It is a life and death matter for me, as a matter of fact. If you treat everything as this is going to be the end of the world as we know it, if I don't get my way politically, then it makes sense then that people will look down upon each other and stay away from each other. And then you add in all of this faux outrage and fear tactics involving a virus that is absolutely no threat to the overwhelming majority of people in the country. And that's how you wind up with family members saying, "You're not welcome into our home." Family members saying, "I'm not coming to your Christmas." And that's such a shame. But something I've tried to do more this year than maybe ever in my life is to try to take charge and take control of the things that I can control, to not worry so much about things that I can't control, and to spend more time and effort worrying about things that I can control. And trying to apply that logic to this situation is I if you're somebody who has an in-law or a friend or a family member that refuses to come together during this time because of differences of opinions on jabs or mandates or masks or whatever, then I'm really sorry. And it would be easy for me to say, well, that's the kind of person I wouldn't want to have around because I don't want to associate with people like that. But I know that that's easy for me to say. It might be a lot harder for you to say if that's a loved one, if that's someone that you've known your whole life. Maybe that's a child. Maybe that's a brother or a sister. But to try to end this on a positive note is I, and I talked about this at Thanksgiving as well. If there's something I'm really thankful for this year, it's it's this family. It's the family that has come together because of this program. It's the people that I've met at our annual live shows. Our next year's annual live show, June 4th, by the way. I hope everyone comes. We'll get the advertisements and links and stuff out soon. But you hear that phrase, the family you weren't born with, the family that you chose. People from all over the country that we would have never met. We would have never even known each other, more like than not, if it wasn't for making it a point to connect on the things instead of focusing on the disagreements we have and making those as an excuse to stay apart. Instead, to focus on the things we do agree with, and that to be an excuse to come together. And so it's very sad for people that because of COVID related nonsense, they're choosing to be apart. But it's because of some of the principles that we do share and the beliefs that we do hold that has brought a lot of people in our community together. And so while I'm not saying that means you're replacing somebody with someone else, because I think that would be really vapid for me to say. I've seen people out there that would say, oh, if your Aunt Jenny won't come to Christmas dinner, will you just invite your friend Joe Bob? Like, well, that's a tender notion to invite your friend, but I don't know what your relationship was with that other person, and I don't think I'm in a place to tell you that you can or can't replace anyone. I don't think of people in those terms, but nevertheless, I want to spend more time and effort going forward to really push to bring people together. And our annual events have always been that. It's just like, I know that people don't come to the annual event to see a live taping of It's Too Late. That's not why they come. They come because it's an excuse for everyone at different corners of the country to come together, to share a laugh, to eat ponchos, because that's really the reason for the season. Yeah, ponchos for sure. Waffle House, But I think that's about all the sap that I have left in me because I'm literally about to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty gay.
Yeah. Go ahead and hit the button. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't even the button I thought you were going to hit. I thought I was going to say all this stuff about how, this is how I feel. Yeah.
I like that. That's my biggest contribution to the show is hitting buttons.
Like, I'm delivering my eulogy right now. This is the end. It is the end, actually. I'm looking at the recording time and I'm saying to myself, this is both physically and metaphorically the end. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, I look forward to seeing everybody. I hope everyone has a fantastic Christmas. But if you don't, ticket sales are final, so sorry.